process is dead. Once upon a time, the Philadelphia 76ers were the ultimate story of hope and patience. Trust the process became a rallying cry for many fans. It meant you must face some adversity to build a championship roster. Now in 2024, it's clear the process has failed. Let's take a look how we got here. The process started in 2013. Yes, it's been over a decade. It was all about openly tanking to acquire high draft picks under the Sam Hinkie era, and for a while it seemed like it was working. Joel Embiid and Ben Simmons were supposed to be the cornerstone players for the Sixers, and promising high draft picks like Jahlil Okafor and even Markelle Fultz were supposed to bring in the next era. Therefore, the Sixers were supposed to be a contending team for years, building an organic dynasty. But as we know it today, that's not exactly what took place. Let's bring it back all the way to 2013. In the 2013 season, the Sixers finished in 10th place in the Eastern Conference. A horrible year for the Sixers. They fired their GM, and shortly after, the new GM of the Sixers was hired, the infamous Sam Hinkie, and he immediately started the process. Shortly after his hiring, Sam Hinkie began shaping the process by drafting Nerlens Noel, the first foundational piece of his strategy. The selection came by trading the team's only all-star player, Jrue Holiday, away, signaling Sam Hinkie had no time for good players. This showed exactly what the process was all about. Trade away good players, get some assets, and build on for the future. Noel was the perfect pick for the Sixers. Many experts had him predicted going first overall. He slipped to number 6 because he tore his ACL in his college year. Perfect for the Sixers, he gets to miss his entire 2014 season, his rookie year, and the tank goes marching on. With their second lotto pick in 2013, which was their own, they selected Michael Carter-Williams, and he went on to be the Rookie of the Year. Things started out perfect for the Sixers, and the future was already promising after just 1 year of tanking. That year, the Sixers went on to finish 19-63, good enough for them to earn the third pick of the 2014 draft. As luck would have it for the Sixers, they were able to select Joel Embiid third overall, the process himself, another injured big who may have gone first overall if it wasn't for his injury history. After all, he was getting comparisons to Hakeem Olajuwon. Days before the draft, he underwent surgery to repair a stress fracture in his foot, which would cause him to miss his entire rookie year. Sam Hinkie loves his rookies that don't play their first year, or even their second year, giving him a great excuse to tank for the 2014 season. Not like he needed one though. After an abysmal 2015 season for the Sixers, starting the season 0-17, the tank was fully embraced.
Third pick in this year's draft goes to the Philadelphia 76ers.
For the third straight year, the Sixers went for another center. One of them was bound to pan out. They selected Jahlil Okafor with this pick. However, Jahlil Okafor, he was a big man who was great in the post with his back to the basket. He didn't provide much else. This style of basketball was quickly fading away with Curry shooting threes from half court, and big men needed to do much more than what Jahlil Okafor provided. After a promising rookie year, he became a dinosaur in the NBA, and just after 2 seasons in the NBA, his career quickly faded. 2016 NBA season, which was the next year, the process was full on processing. They topped their 0-17 start with an 0-18 start. While counting the games the year prior, they had a 28-game losing streak, which was insane. The tanking, the processing, whatever you may want to call it, didn't come without its drama. This open tanking the Sixers were doing simply was not a good look for the NBA. Philadelphia was accused of intentionally losing games, which they were, and this led Hinkie resigning from his position, to many fans' dismay. The Sixers ended the season with a dismal 10-72 record, third worst in NBA history. However, the years of tanking finally paid off and the NBA lotto went their way, rewarding them with the coveted first overall pick. Another ideal scenario for the Sixers. Ben Simmons was considered a superstar level player, if not generational. He was one of the few prospects ever compared to LeBron James. Simmons possessed the rare combination of size at 6'10", the skill set of a guard with elite passing ability, plus exceptional rebounding and defense. The only missing piece in his game was developing a reliable mid-range shot. He was a can't-miss prospect. Shortly after being drafted, Ben Simmons suffered a foot injury during training camp and forced him to miss his entire rookie year, which was a common theme for the Sixers and their drafted rookies. Although no longer in the Hinkie era, it still gave the Sixers a reason to tank for 1 more year. The ghost of Sam Hinkie was definitely thrilled. The 2017 NBA season where the Sixers fans first got the taste of what the process was all about. After 4 grueling seasons of processing, they finally got to see Joel Embiid play after missing his first 2 seasons. They only finished the season with a 28-54 record, pretty bad still, though night and day difference from the year prior where they only won 10 games. But with a generational talent in their back pockets and 2 promising rookies who just made first-team All-Rookie that year, in Embiid and Saric, the Sixers were finally hopeful. They were trusting the process. Finishing the year bottom 5 once again. The NBA gave him the 3rd overall pick, which became Jason Tatum. However, they traded this for the 1st overall pick and they used it to select Markelle Fultz. This was supposed to be the final puzzle piece of the process. However, it ended up being the first critical mistake of the process. Markelle Fultz was seen as a perfect complement to Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid. A smooth scorer with an effortless jumper and playmaking ability, he was expected to solidify the Sixers' young core. However, as soon as we saw him shoot his first free throws, everyone's first thoughts were, is he a bust? He developed a mysterious shoulder injury that not only hampered his shooting mechanics, but also completely zapped his confidence. He was never the same as his college days. It was immediately evident Fultz was a complete bust as the consensus first overall pick. Meanwhile, Simmons made his debut in the 2017-18 season, and he lived up to the hype, winning Rookie of the Year. Pairing him with the dominant second-year Joel Embiid, who now blossomed into an all-star, led the Sixers finally turning a new leaf. They finished the season 52-30, earning them the third seed in the East. In 2019, the Sixers arguably had their best shot. They traded for Jimmy Butler and Tobias Harris, assembling what seemed to be a super team alongside Simmons and Embiid. They were finally all in. Yeah, the playoffs ended in heartbreak.
Defended by Simmons. Is this the dagger?
Kawhi Leonard's buzzer beater in Game 7, one of the most iconic shots in NBA history, ended the Sixers' title hopes that year and potentially any future years with the process. After that heartbreaking loss, things started to spiral. I mean, how could you stay sane after that loss? Butler left in that free agency. The Sixers foolishly didn't offer him a full 5-year max. Instead, they offered a 5-year max to Tobias Harris.
Tobias Harris over me?
While also signing him to a massive contract and bringing Al Horford in instead, a disastrous fit next to Joel Embiid. The following seasons became a cycle of disappointment. In 2020, the Sixers were embarrassingly swept in the first round of the playoffs. Ben Simmons' offensive limitations became glaring, with teams exploiting his inability to shoot by doing hack-a-ben strategy, forcing him to the free throw line where he struggled. This often kept him off the floor in the critical fourth quarter moments. The true breaking point came in the 2021 playoffs. In a decisive Game 7 against Atlanta Hawks, Simmons infamously passed on an open dunk in the closing minutes, a play that symbolized his lack of confidence and aggression on offense. The Sixers were upset in the second round by the Hawks, and Simmons became the focal point and blamed yet again for another failed playoff run. By the 2021-22 season, things started to get ugly for the Sixers. Simmons demanded a trade and refused to play for them, and the Sixers eventually traded him to the Brooklyn Nets for James Harden, hoping to reignite their championship aspirations. Initially, things looked promising. Harden and Embiid formed a deadly duo, and the Sixers once again seemed like legit contenders. The playoffs told a different story, though. Harden's inconsistency and Embiid's recurring injuries doomed their run. Another second-round exit in the 2023 playoffs marked another failed year for the process. In the 2024 season, Harden demanded a trade, which was last year, stemming from a broken promise that came from Daryl Morey. After taking a pay cut to help the Sixers roster and their build, Harden was expecting a full max the next year, which never came. Harden then felt some type of way, publicly calling Morey a liar.
Daryl Morey is a liar, and I will never be a part of an organization that he's a part of. Let me say that again. Daryl Morey is a liar, and I will never be a part of an organization that he's a part of.
Demanding a trade, and Harden was sent to the Clippers shortly after. And then they went on to lose in the first round of the playoffs that year. Now in the 2025 season, the Sixers are a shell of the team they envisioned a decade ago. They signed a 33-year-old Paul George in the offseason to a 4-year max contract, an aging star who has been often injured, and another player who tends to disappear in the playoffs and in clutch moments. The former MVP Joel Embiid's struggles have been somewhat surprising and concerning for the Sixers, seemingly always dealing with the lower body injuries. After a terrible performance in the Olympics, to start this year, he just doesn't seem like he can move the same as the years past. He's moving slower, you can see it in the box scores, you can see it in the games he plays, and with his scoring efficiency dipping and his defensive presence looking a step slower, he just doesn't look like the Joel Embiid that was dominating the past few years. With their former MVP leading the team, the Sixers' expectations were championship or bust. And now the Sixers have started the year 5-15. They look like they're all the way back to year one of the process. It might be time to move on from Joel Embiid and Paul George and trade them and build around their young players they have right now, like Tyrese Maxey and Jared McCain. The process, a strategy built on trust, patience, and the promise of championships, has developed into a cautionary tale of mismanagement, bad luck, and unmet expectations. Trust the process? More like the process is dead.